Hey guys, I just want to do a quick mention before you go on to the discussion of board games are better than video games. Each of these are my personal views on why I like board games over video games. None of this is solid, none of this is fact. It varies depending on what game you're talking about, both for board games and video games. It depends on who you're playing with, it depends on a lot of things. But I want to stress that these are what I think, and that's I mean it's my channel, so I mean it's whatever. But I want to say in no way do I hate video games at all. I play video games like a lot actually. I play board games more though, but I've been playing video games way longer than I ever have board games. So I just want to stress that for those of you that are watching, that take this with basically a grain of salt and just understand that I'm not really being serious. I'm not being like death to video games, all hail board games. That's just that no. I like them both, but these are the reasons why I personally would choose playing a board game over a video game. So enjoy, and once again, don't take anything I do or say seriously. Enjoy. Board games and video games have been around for quite a while and have recently become extremely popular and have grown since they first started coming out. Now, while they are completely different from one another, they are essentially on two sides of the same coin. Whereas video game players could or do play board games, board game players almost always play video games. It's essentially, nerds. But I'm here to discuss why board games are vastly superior to video games. Now, I want to make it known that I do love video games, and I am actually a huge video game player, but board gaming has become my biggest hobby and a huge passion of mine. So, while this may be slightly biased because I play more board games than I do video games, I still have played a lot of video games in my time before I have ever even picked up the board gaming hobby. So I will be giving you 3 reasons as to why I think board games are better than video games. The first thing is that you will never, well, almost never, and well actually, it varies from person to person, but since I've played board games, no one that I've played with and myself has ever rage quit a board game. And if you're unfamiliar with rage quitting, that's when you're playing something or doing something that makes you so mad that you quit.
Fuck! You're kidding!
Judge.
Fuck! No promotion! Fifth of vodka! Shit on Deborah's desk! Buy a gun! In my mouth!
Oh fuck, man, I can't fucking do it. Shit!
Pussy out! Puke on Deborah's desk! Jump out! You can't fucking quit! You can't fucking quit! You can't fucking quit!
So, now, as an avid video game player that I am, or also was, I have rage quit tons, and I mean tons, of video games. If you're playing games like Dark Souls, or Dark Souls 2, or anything that is hard for the sake of being hard, I can almost guarantee you that you have rage quit and probably have broken controllers, TVs, equipment, hit your friends, killed your dog. You've probably done something along those lines. Now, I'm not saying that board games don't make you mad. No, that is the complete opposite. Board games do make you mad. Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, The Resistance, just a few of those games will just piss you off to no end. But because board gaming includes a sense of, time, like you set time aside to set the board game up, you actually make a pretty much a date with your friends to come over and play, so that when things piss you off, yeah, you're mad. Almost, I've been more mad by playing a board game than I ever have a video game, but I still never rage quit because in the back of my mind I understand the mechanics of the game and I'm having a lot more fun with board games than with video games. it's a lot easier to turn on a console or your PC and start a video game and then quit because it took you no time at all. But if you're spending 30, 45 minutes on setting up a board game, you're thinking, I invested time into putting this together. You guys never come over, so we're just going to play this game even though it's pissing me off. And that is one reason why I think board games are superior to video games. The second reason why board games are vastly superior to video games is that board games bring a sense of social interaction. As video games come out, they are starting to kind of pull away from the co-op, bring your friends together, have a good time, split screen kind of thing. And with recent games like Halo 5, Battlefield, Evolve, Titanfall, games that are pretty much requiring internet to do anything with your friends. And I know this for a fact because I bought Halo 5 and they took away split screen to make the game run better and run smoother and look prettier. While that's all, fine and great and the game looked amazing, that's not what Halo was. Halo was about spending time with your friends and beating the campaign. But I'm not here to talk about Halo 5. The point I'm making is that board games require you to have friends. Well, okay, they don't really require you to have friends, but they require you to have some people around so you can actually play the game. And there are games like Mage Knight or Arkham Horror or Pandemic where there are solo gameplays. You can play those games by yourself and that's fine, but still it doesn't quite have that appeal as playing with your friends or girlfriend or significant other or whatever. Your lizard, if you're that lonely, I mean that's fine. It's fine as long as you're playing the board game. But there's just something magical about everyone investing the time into a board game, and the board game causes you to actually, talk to them. They're in Pandemic, for example, has a rule where your hand is, one, you can lay it on the table, but for beginners, but if you've played it quite a bit, then you keep it to yourself, but not really, because you can talk about what's in your hand, but it gives people the initiative to say, I have 2 yellows, or they tell you what's in their hand, so it increases communication and everyone gets a chance to talk, throw out ideas, and have fun. And while in video games, let's say you're playing online, you don't really have that communication. You never have that, I'm going to go to East Wing, I'm making this up, I'm going to go to East Wing to flank them, I want you to stay here. It's not, I've personally never had that. I've had, okay, yeah, we're playing the same game, but we're not really playing together. Whereas I've played Star Wars Imperial Assault, Pandemic, Arkham Horror, where everyone's sitting there, okay, well we can do this and this and this. Well, what do you think? Well, okay, I agree with that, but how about what if we tried it this way? There's just that level of strategy and fun, and even in competitive games, everyone's having a blast. Epic Spell Wars or Smash Up, everyone's just having fun with what the game is bringing. And even strategy games, Forbidden Stars, Twilight Imperium, it's just really funny, and the things that can arise from a board game are so much better than a video game. Now, and also the great games that I play, Witcher 3, Fallout 4, Mass Effect, Dragon Age Inquisition, games like that, they're pretty much strictly single player, and they're fine. They're perfectly fine. That's not the point I'm making. I just wanted to make a shout out to those awesome games. But that is the second reason why I think board games are better than video games. The third reason why I think that board games are superior to video games is I feel that board games have a higher sense of replayability. Now, before you fly off the handle and be like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? That's all video games are. Yes and no. And it's yes and no for board games. Actually, all of these, reasons are yes and no for both sides. And, I mean, whatever, I like board games. But if we were going to look at any one of these board games that I own, I can play every single one of them and get a different experience and a different feel each time I play it. Now, that can't really be said for video games. Yes, of course, there are video games that do have high replayability, but let's look at a good example. RPGs, any RPG, Skyrim, Oblivion, The Witcher, Diablo, yes, those do have replayability, and I mean they're great games, but the difference between that kind of replayability and the ones that come with this is these don't take weeks or just years out of your life to play a session. If I were going to look at Talisman, my favorite board game, each time I play it, it's completely different, mainly because it's randomized and it like involves luck. But I get a different feel, and also feels like it's different depending on who I'm playing with. Now, if I were going to do like Skyrim and I wanted to make a new character, it would be completely different, and it would take longer to make my character. In a board game, you don't have days or weeks, months, years to play the game. You just have a couple hours out of the day. So that's why I feel like it has higher replayability. Because, let's take another game that I recently did, Pandemic. Same game, but I can play that, I can at least do 3 or 4 run-throughs of that game and get a completely different feel out of each one of them, and that's only in a day. Whereas The Witcher, if I wanted to get replayability and get different choices and see what happens, I'd have to play that entire game again and read, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying that that's why I personally feel that board games have higher replayability than video games. That's my cat. Anyway, that's the third reason why I think board games are superior to video games. Hey everyone, thank you so much, like so much, for watching this video, this first discussion that I'm actually doing. And the reason why I decided to do this was because I have actually broken 100 subscribers, and you may think of that as, oh, it's only 100, but that actually means a lot to me. I want to do a big shout out to Rado for allowing me to be in one of his Final Thoughts videos and giving me the chance to kind of promote my channel. And it's because of that I broke 100 pretty much within a day, and it was fantastic. I want to do a huge shout out to all my subscribers. I'm so glad that you decided to actually, watch my videos, and I hope you continue watching them, liking, subscribing, and telling your friends all about them. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely let me know. And once again, I want to thank you all so much for supporting me. I try to make my videos, fun, entertaining, and still give that idea of what board games can bring to the table and what they do as an entertainment purpose. Don't get me wrong, I still love video games, still play video games, but board gaming has become a huge passion and hobby of mine. And I hope that this has given you kind of an insight on what board gaming can do, and that I hope you go out and start your own hobby. And if you have any ideas of what games to get, definitely check out my channel. Some of my favorite board games I've uploaded and done, and those should probably get you started. So once again, thank you everyone, and I love you. Awesome. Thank you, and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.